Don't let the Forbes rankings or those Silicon Valley billionaires dazzle you, because the truth is, Solomon didn't get rich through a magical prayer or a sudden act of kindness from God, but through a sophisticated and dark operating system that churches have always sought to whitewash for the past 3,000 years. You were taught that he asked for wisdom and money just fell on his head like winning the lottery? Ridiculous. Secret societies, alchemists, and the Freemasons all know a different version. Solomon possessed a ring to chain the necks of 72 demons, forcing them to haul stones to build the temple. But listen, those demons don't have horns and they don't smell like sulfur. They are sitting right there in your brain lobes, and they are the laziness, the fear, and the primal desires gnawing at your wallet every day. While you are enslaved by cheap impulses, Solomon turned them into empire-building workers. He didn't destroy his own darkness. He tamed it, put it to work, and turned a pile of psychological waste into $2.2 trillion worth of precious metals. So, will you continue to let the demons in your head throw a destructive party? Or will you put on the ring and start the great construction project of your life? Your throne is still empty, and the slaves are revolting. Ready to strip away the ruthless laws of power? I am Zorro, and welcome to the dark corner of history. Forget the Forbes billionaire list for a moment. Forget Elon Musk with his rockets to Mars, or Jeff Bezos with his global shipping empire. If we adjusted King Solomon's wealth for today's inflation, economists would be left speechless. 2.2 trillion US dollars. You didn't mishear that. That figure is enough to buy back all of Apple and Microsoft and still have enough money left over to take over the entire Middle East as a backyard. Imagine a world where silver was considered as trivial as the pebbles along the roads of Jerusalem. A transcontinental trade network where expeditionary fleets brought back pure gold from the legendary land of Ophir every 3 years. His fame was so great that distant kings traveled for months just to hear a single word of gold. You were told he was blessed because he prayed for wisdom. A beautiful fairy tale, right? But I am here to peel back that veil. Secret societies like the Freemasons, the alchemists, and the masters of Kabbalah have whispered a different version for 3,000 years. They knew that Solomon's prosperity wasn't a miracle falling from the sky like hitting the jackpot. It was an advanced spiritual operating system. Solomon wasn't just a king, he was a reality engineer. Legend has it that Solomon owned a magic ring used to control demons, forcing them to carry stones to build his temple. Sound like a cheap fantasy movie? Don't be so quick to laugh. Today we will decode that metaphor. Those demons aren't horned monsters living underground. They live right here, in your limbic system. Fear, procrastination, rage, and uncontrolled desires. Those are the Gotcha demons of the modern age. The average person is a slave to them. When the demon of laziness speaks, you lounge on the couch. When the demon of lust calls, you burn money on useless pleasures. But Solomon, he didn't destroy them. He tamed them. He forced those destructive impulses to pick up a hammer and chisel and build his empire. Come back in time with me 3,000 years. We are standing in the middle of a hall of ivory plated with gold. Before Solomon stand not ambassadors but entities of smoke and fire, the jinn. Their eyes burn like embers, representing chaos and brutality. Any one of us would faint with terror, but Solomon remains calm. His breathing is as steady as an atomic clock. He raises his right hand. The ring glows. Seeing that seal, the demons bow their heads. The chaos stops. "Build my temple," he commands. And so, entities that knew only destruction began to carve stone and cast bronze. Now, don't be foolish enough to go digging up the desert looking for that physical ring. Even if you found it and put it on, it would just be an old piece of metal on your finger. Because Solomon's ring is a state of consciousness, it is a symbol of the ultimate will. The ring is the I am, the ability to separate oneself from instinctive impulses. You want to wake up at 6 a.m. to work on the project of a lifetime? The demon of laziness will scream, "It's cold, keep sleeping, you can't do it." If you obey, you have just handed over your crown to a demon. You are abdicating right within your own inner kingdom. Solomon teaches us, do not negotiate with slaves. The king issues decrees. This is the part that the holy people will find uncomfortable. Why did Solomon use demons and not angels to build the temple? Simple. Angels don't have hands to carry stones. They are entities of light and ideas. They are great for design, but to deal with dense matter, to sweat and dig deep into the earth, you need the brute force of demons. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. Your rage is a nuclear reactor. If left free, it will incinerate your life in prison. But if directed by the ring, it becomes the aggression needed to close million-dollar contracts. Greed, if suppressed, will leave you destitute, but if tamed, it becomes the drive to create great economic systems. Alchemists call this transmutation, turning the lead of base impulses into the gold of character. Don't throw your darkness into the trash. It is the fuel for your rocket. Coal is dirty, but if burned correctly, it pulls a whole train across a continent. Solomon had one more secret, the bronze vessel. He imprisoned the demons inside it and sealed it. This is the art of containment. An emotion is like a gas. If you vent it whenever there's an opening, screaming when angry, crying when sad, acting immediately on a whim, you are leaking pressure. A leaking boiler never moves a piston. Solomon taught us to be silent. Hold that pressure. Don't tell anyone about your project until it is finished. Let the insults of others compress inside the vessel, turning them into a cold determination to succeed. Silence is where power accumulates. But be careful. Power is not eternal. There is a brutal story about Solomon, out of arrogance, taking off the ring to show off to the demon Asmodeus. Immediately, the demon seized the throne and threw Solomon hundreds of miles away. The richest king in history had to wander like a beggar, screaming, "I am the king," while the world took him for a madman. What is the lesson here? Eternal vigilance. The moment you relax your discipline, the moment you think you are good enough to stop controlling the beasts within, they will devour you. Let's do a small thought experiment. You are the universe, an abundant, infinite source of energy, always wanting to pour wealth and opportunity down upon the world. You look down and see two containers. The first is a pure gold cup, clean and polished, sitting firmly on a stone pedestal. The second is a broken, filthy plastic trash can full of holes and sitting precariously on a pile of mud. Which one will you pour your finest wine into? The answer is obvious, right? The universe does not waste energy. If it pours wine into the broken bin, the wine will leak out and stink. That is an insult to wealth. King Solomon understood this better than anyone. Before asking for power or gold, he spent 7 long years doing just one thing: building the vessel. That was the Temple of Jerusalem, a project obsessed with detail. Lebanon cedar, stones carved precisely to the millimeter, pure gold from Ophir. Why be so extreme? Because Solomon knew an immutable law. God, or prosperity, never dwells in chaos. Nay, we will stop daydreaming and start picking up the blueprints. I will show you why your life is still a financial mess. It's not that you lack talent, it's that your internal structure is collapsing. You are a ruined building demanding luxury furniture. It's time to clean up the construction site. As above, so below. As within, so without. This is the hermetic code carved at the entrance of every mystery temple. Your external reality, your bank balance, the car you drive, even the space under your bed, is an exact mirror reflecting what is happening in your head. Do you believe you can possess the mind of a millionaire while living in a room like a pigsty? Stop lying to yourself. If you are a mess and I give you $1 million, you will just be a mess with 1,000,000 bigger problems. You will burn all that money on new chaos and be bankrupt in 2 years. That is why lottery winners often end up worse off than when they started. The SolomonCode requires you to reverse the process, reorganize your life right now with what you have, as if you were already a king. Don't wait until you have money to buy clean bed sheets. Prepare your home to welcome the Queen of Abundance. If she arrives and finds your house smells, she will turn her back and go to someone else immediately. There is a strange detail in the Bible. When building the temple, no sound of hammer, axe, or any iron tool was to be heard. Every stone had to be pre-cut from the quarry. The temple was erected in absolute silence. This is a metaphor for mental noise. We live in an age where distraction is a disease. The phone rings every 5 minutes, social media notifications jump constantly, the TV is on in the background. Your mind is a construction site full of smashing sounds. How can you hear the voice of intuition or wisdom in all that noise? Silence is power. The poor live in noise. The sound of the TV, the sound of arguments, the sound of phone notifications. The rich live in quiet spaces because they know that attention is the most expensive asset. Solomon teaches us to establish no-noise zones. If you want to create an empire, you must turn off the world. Gold only crystallizes in absolute focus. Solomon didn't use cheap pine, he used cedar. He didn't use bronze for the sanctuary, he used pure gold. There is a spiritual disease I call cheapskate psychology. It is the obsession with discounts, freebies, and good cheap fast things. Every time you buy something cheap and shoddy, you are sending a powerful signal to your subconscious. I don't deserve the best, I deserve trash. And your subconscious, being a devoted slave, will ensure you stay poor forever to match that pile of trash. Building the internal temple means raising your standards. Better to have one excellent pen that lasts 10 years than a handful of pens that leak. Throw away the socks with holes, the chipped bowls. Beauty is not vanity. Beauty is the language of power. When your environment exudes excellence, your thoughts will automatically vibrate at the frequency of wealth. The temple is not a marketplace. It has levels of access. The outer court is for the masses. The holy place is for the priests. And the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant is kept, is reserved only for the high priest once a year. What is your biggest mistake? You have no boundaries. You let anyone, from whining colleagues to toxic news on the internet, walk straight into the Holy of Holies of your mind and defecate there. You let the opinions of people who have nothing hurt you. Put guards at the door. In the outer court, be kind to everyone. In the holy place, allow only loyal associates to enter. But in the Holy of Holies, there is only you and your higher purpose. Don't tell your dreams to those who only look at the ground. Protect access to your soul as Solomon protected the Ark of the Covenant. The universe always tends toward chaos, entropy. A garden left untended will be full of weeds. A mind without discipline will be full of anxiety. Order is not natural. Order is a continuous act of will. Solomon didn't wake up and ask, "How do I feel today?" A king does not act based on emotions, he acts based on liturgy. Do you have a roadmap for your day, or are you just a victim of whatever the day throws at you? Start by conquering the first temple, your body. Solomon's posture radiated authority, and you, slumping over your phone with drooping shoulders, that is the posture of a loser, and your brain will automatically secrete cortisol to drown you deeper. Stand straight, take up space, and treat your body like a king's warhorse. Discipline is a daily task. Making the bed is not a chore. It is your first victory over chaos. By mastering your schedule, you build a fortress that stops the world from eroding your focus. Now, look back at the construction site of your life. Are you ready to clean up? Purification. Immediately throw away broken old things that are draining your energy. Establish silence. Set aside 1 hour a day completely without internet, just you and the sacred work. Elevate aesthetics. Dress like the person you want to become, even when you are alone. There is an ironic truth about the nouveau riche of Silicon Valley. They have to spend billions of dollars every year on marketing, advertising, and PR campaigns just to get the world to notice them. They chase attention like dogs chasing tails. King Solomon did not. He didn't run Facebook ads of the ancient world. He didn't send out invitations everywhere. But look, the Queen of Sheba, a powerful, wealthy, and proud woman from the far south, said she was breathless when she saw his kingdom with her own eyes. She traveled thousands of miles, bringing priceless treasures just to sit and hear him speak. Welcome to the Sheba effect. This is the pinnacle of reality engineering. Instead of exhausting himself chasing opportunities, Solomon created a personal magnetic force so strong that opportunities, money, and the most powerful people had to find their own way to him, to ask to serve him. The secret lies in two ultimate weapons: the power of the word and the language of birds. Legend says Solomon could speak to birds and wild beasts. Sound like a comic book superpower? In reality, it is a metaphor for mastering frequency and vibration. Your words are never harmless. Every word you utter is a seed planted in the soil of reality. The average person uses the language of a slave. They say, "I hope I'll have money. I'll try. Why is this happening to me?" Do you hear the weakness in that? That is the language of begging, and the universe, with its coldness, will respond by keeping you exactly in the position of a beggar. Solomon didn't beg. A king does not negotiate with reality. He issues decrees. In ancient Hebrew, the term davar means both word and thing. To Solomon, saying something with absolute will was to create that thing in the material world. Look at how you talk to yourself every day. "I'm so tired." You just issued a decree for your body to faint. "I'm so poor." You just sealed your bank account with a seal of lack. To activate this code, you must stop being a reporter who only reports difficulties. You must become the scriptwriter of your life. Don't talk about what is happening. Talk about what you command to happen. Why birds? Because birds fly high. They see the whole picture while humans only see the dust under their feet. The language of birds is the ability to read the subtle signals of the environment, the invisible trends that ordinary people overlook. In business and power, this is called strategic vision. Solomon knew when to invest in the fleet to Ophir, when to ally with King Hiram of Tyre. He didn't guess. He observed the winds of energy flow. You want the Sheba effect? You must learn to be silent to listen to the vibrations of the market, of the human heart. Most people are too busy screaming about themselves that they become deaf and blind to the opportunities flying over their heads. Solomon teaches us, he who masters silence masters the language of the universe. There is an extremely valuable detail in this story. What stunned Sheba the most wasn't the pile of pure gold. She had gold too. What broke her will was order. She saw how Solomon's servants stood in their correct places, how they wore perfect attire, and the wisdom radiating from every action of the king. That is magnetic force. When you build a perfect internal and external structure, as we discussed in part 2, you create a power vacuum, and according to the laws of physics, the universe will fill that vacuum with corresponding resources. The Sheba effect is when you don't need to go knocking on every door to ask for a job or a partnership. You train yourself, discipline your life, and radiate an excellence so great that people feel insulted if they don't get to work with you. Solomon's wealth didn't come from greed. It came from irresistible attraction. Want the world to bring gifts to you instead of having to beg? Apply the 3 keys of the Sheba effect today. Verbal dictatorship. Declare war on all victim-based words. Delete, I hope, I don't know, if only. Replace them with the language of assertion. I choose, I create, I command. Talk 70% less, and every word spoken must be as heavy as pure gold. Quiet excellence. Don't brag about what you intend to do. Do it in the silence of the temple until its results create a resonance loud enough to attract queens from afar. Remember, noise is for the poor, results are for the king. Environmental magnetization. Turn where you live and how you work into a magnet. Let anyone who enters your space feel a vibration of order and ambition. The Queen of Sheba didn't come because she pitied Solomon. She came because she wanted to be in the presence of greatness. If you are not great in your posture, in your words, and in your life structure, don't ask why luck keeps avoiding you. But remember, wealth and power have a deadly trap. It can turn a king into a tyrant and a temple into a prison. Solomon achieved it all, but in the end he had to cry out, "Everything is vanity." So now we have it all. A ring to rule demons, a temple to hold gold, and a magnetic force to make the whole world kneel. You think this is a Hollywood happy ending? No. This is dark history. And history always has a way of slapping the faces of those who think they have become gods. Look at Solomon at the end of his life. The wisest, richest, most powerful king in history left behind a book called Ecclesiastes. And what is its opening line? Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. A guy who owned $2.2 trillion said that money, fame, and knowledge are just chasing the wind. Why? Because Solomon violated the very code he created. He forgot that. The ruler must never take off the ring, not even for a second. Remember the bronze vessel rule in the previous section? Containment is power. But Solomon, in his peak years, let his desires overflow out of control. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Don't look at this through an outdated moral lens. Look at it through the lens of energy engineering. Each pagan wife brought her own god, her own culture, and her own demands. Solomon, to please them, began building altars to strange gods right on the hills around Jerusalem. Do you see it? The internal temple, the unique vessel intended for the truth, was divided. His absolute focused energy was scattered in 1,000 different directions. He flung open the doors of the Holy of Holies to messy influences from the outside. When you try to please everyone, when you let petty desires tear apart a great purpose, your throne begins to wobble. Solomon didn't fail because of external enemies. He failed because of a civil war within his own mind. There is a story in the Talmud that I always find chilling. Solomon, being too conceited in his power, took off the ring to perform for the demon Asmodeus. Immediately, the demon turned into a giant, seized the ring, threw Solomon 400 miles away, and transformed itself into Solomon to sit on the throne. For many years, the real king had to beg for every meal. He went everywhere saying, "I am King Solomon," and people laughed and threw stones at him like a madman. This is not just a fairy tale. This is a brutal psychological warning. The moment you think discipline is no longer necessary, the moment you take off the ring of consciousness to indulge your ego, that very ego will become a demon taking control. You will still look like a king on the outside, the same suit, the same car, but inside, you are just a demon acting a part. And your true self? It was thrown into the desert of confusion and despair long ago. The price of carelessness is the loss of self. So, what was all that gold, power, and wisdom for if at the end of his life, Solomon only saw vanity? The answer lies here. The SolomonCode is not for you to become a hoarder of assets or a tyrant controlling others. The ultimate purpose of building the temple and taming demons is for you to realize you are the observer, not the thing being observed. All material things, pure gold from Ophir or expeditionary ships, are tools for you to train your will. If you see money as the goal, you will end up like a beggar on a throne. But if you see the creation of wealth as an exercise to master the mind, then whether you have $2 trillion or not a penny to your name, you are still a king. The vanity Solomon spoke of is not pessimism, it is liberation. It means, don't let the things you own turn around and own you. Keep the ring polished, but never forget that true power lies in the finger wearing it, not in the piece of metal itself. We have gone through the journey of decoding 10 master keys, from taming the demons of laziness and fear in your limbic system to building a life structure as orderly as a temple and using language to control reality. You don't need royal blood to use this code. You don't need to be born in Jerusalem 3,000 years ago. The throne of your life is currently empty. It is waiting for a king or a queen who knows how to impose order upon chaos. Stop being a subject of circumstance. Don't let internal demons lead you to the abyss of mediocrity. Take up the ring. Start laying the first stone of your temple today, even if it's just cleaning your desk or changing one negative word. The knowledge of the ancients is now in your hands. Solomon's legacy does not lie beneath the ground of Jerusalem. It lies in your will right now. Imagine a royal garden in Jerusalem 3,000 years ago. Amidst the scent of cedar and frankincense, a king sits in silence. Surrounding him are not flattering ministers, but hoopoe birds, eagles, and doves. Legend says King Solomon understood the language of birds. He conversed with them, and they brought back secrets from the darkest corners of the continent. In ancient code, the language of birds is a term for high frequencies. Birds fly high. They see the world from God's perspective. They represent intuition and spiritual truths that the crowds on the ground never touch. And the wind, ruach in Hebrew, is the breath, the soul, the life force. Solomon didn't just control the wind to move ships or bring rain. He mastered the art of the word. Have you ever wondered why in the book of Genesis, God didn't use hands to mold the world, nor use thoughts to visualize it? The text clearly states, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Sound is the primal building tool of the universe, and you, a creature made in the image of the Creator, also have that powerful software installed right in your throat. But look back at how you are using it. You are like a child playing with a loaded gun. You spend all day shooting yourself in the foot with complaints, meaningless curses, and self-deprecation. You are practicing black magic against yourself 24 hours a day without even knowing it. Every child knows the word abracadabra from cheap magic shows with rabbits and cowboy hats. But in reality, this is an ancient Aramaic phrase. Avara Kedavara. Its literal meaning is, I create as I speak. The reality you are touching is not as solid as you think. Quantum physics has confirmed everything is just atoms vibrating at different frequencies. And your voice, it is pure vibration. Have you ever seen experiments on cymatics? When people sprinkle sand on a metal plate and play a sound frequency, those lifeless grains of sand automatically arrange themselves into perfect, symmetrical, and sophisticated geometric patterns. Sound controls matter. That is the law. So, look at the sand of your life. If the frequency you emit daily is, I am a failure, money is the root of evil, I'm always sick in the winter, then what geometric pattern do you expect to appear? A pile of chaos, lack, and fatigue. You don't describe reality because it is true. That reality is true because you have persistently described it as such. You have fatally confused cause and effect. You talk about difficulties because they exist? No, my friend. Those difficulties still exist because you continue to grant them ruach, your breath and life, through words. Your silence is the death of an obstacle, yet you choose to fatten them with complaints. Most of us are unconscious masters of black magic. I'm sick of this job. This country is going down the hole. My spouse is useless. These are not complaints. These are decrees. Analyze the sentence. I always get sick in the winter. You think that's a weather forecast? No, it's a military command sent to your immune system. Listen carefully. When December comes, lower the defenses, open the doors for viruses. That is our identity. And your body, a pathetically loyal servant, will obey absolutely. Then, when the fever hits, you have the nerve to exclaim, "How unfortunate." King Solomon wrote in the book of Proverbs, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Note, he didn't say a few annoying things. He said life and death. You can kill a relationship, kill a child's self-esteem, or kill your own future with just one unconscious sentence. Every time you open your mouth, you are signing a contract with the universe. Ask yourself, are you signing a contract for wealth or a lifelong debt note? The two most powerful words in the universe are I am. In Hebrew, Ehi Asher Ehi. This is the name the Creator called himself before Moses. Whatever you place after these two words is a label you stick onto your soul. Your subconscious has no sense of humor. It doesn't know how to joke. It doesn't understand sarcasm. If you click your tongue, haha, I'm such an idiot. I always lose my keys. The subconscious records it immediately. Master is an idiot. Instruction, lose keys. And it will ensure you lose your keys next time to maintain consistency with the decree you issued. The SolomonCode requires extreme vigilance. Never, I repeat, never finish the sentence, I am, with anything you do not want to become. Don't say I am poor, say, I am in the process of creating wealth. Don't say I am lonely, say, I am learning to love myself to attract the right people. Don't lie and say you're a millionaire when you only have $5, because the conscious mind will reject the lie. But use language to open the door instead of slamming it shut. If speech is silver, then silence is pure gold, and in Solomon's palace, gold was cast into locked boxes. Solomon knew a secret that today's social media addicts frequently violate. Power only accumulates in stillness. In metaphysics, there is a law called the hydraulic law. Imagine your great idea is a stream of high-pressure steam pushing an engine. When you come up with a business plan or a bold project, that internal pressure is the fuel for action. But instead of starting work, you run straight to the bar with friends or post a flashy status on Facebook. You tell the details. You imagine the success. You soak in the virtual applause. And what happens? When you return home, you feel deflated, empty. Why? Because you've already lived that project through your mouth. Your brain has received enough dopamine from the telling, so it no longer cares about the doing. You have ejaculated your entire creative energy through your mouth. The SolomonCode says, be silent. Keep your dream in a locked gold box. The lion never sends a notification before it hunts. It hunts in silence, and the roar only sounds when the prey is already beneath its claws. The gatekeeper is the one who barks. The king acts. Why is speaking the truth so important? Don't listen to cheap moral dogmas. Look at it from a technical perspective. Your word is a creative tool, a chisel to carve reality. If you lie, you are chipping your own chisel. If you promise to arrive at 5 o'clock but show up at 5:15, if you say you'll pay tomorrow but then go silent, if you swear to diet but then order a large pizza, you are teaching your subconscious a deadly lesson. My word is worthless. My sound is just noise, not law. And then, one day when you truly need to use the power of the word to turn your fate, you stand before the mirror and declare, I will be wealthy, or I am healed. Your subconscious will laugh in your face. Right, just like arriving on time or the diet, eh? You're a liar. Your word is trash. And thus, your decree falls into the void. It manifests nothing because your operating system is infected with the virus of self-deception. Conversely, if you practice absolute impeccability, acting in accordance with your word no matter the cost, the subconscious will begin to worship your words. At that point, you only need to whisper a desire, and the entire universe will line up to fulfill it. That is the power of a king. Legend has it that Solomon traveled on a flying carpet propelled by the wind. This is an extremely sharp metaphor. The wind, ruach, is the neutral energy of the universe. It doesn't care where you go. It just pushes. Your words are the sails. If you set the sail with passive words like, I have to, let's see what happens, or I hope I get lucky, you are letting the wind push you backward or drift aimlessly. That is the language of a victim. On the contrary, winners use active language. I will make it happen. I decide. I am responsible. Immediately eliminate the slave-like obligation of the word I have to and replace it with I want or I choose. When you change your grammar, you are readjusting the sail to catch the wind of destiny. I must warn you about this. Nothing makes you poor faster than gossip. Bad-mouthing others is like drinking poison yourself and waiting for the other person to die. When you criticize someone, you are tuning your mental radio to trash FM. And guess what? The universe will bring a lot more trash to your life to match that frequency. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people." Solomon surrounded himself with sages discussing architecture, botany, and ethics. If you want to live like a king, stop talking like a marketplace gossip. Golden silence is the mark of the elite. To end this chapter, I challenge you to participate in a 7-day verbal detox. It's harder than any fast you've ever known. No complaining, absolutely no moaning about the weather, traffic, or your boss. No gossip. Forbidden to talk about anyone who isn't there. No self-deprecation, absolutely no phrases like, I'm so stupid. The 2-second rule. Before answering anyone, pause for 2 seconds. Ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? In the first 2 days, you'll find yourself almost mute because you'll realize 90% of what you intended to say was negative trash. Good. That silence is healing your throat chakra. By the 7th day, your words will start to have the weight of diamonds. People will listen to you with a strange awe. You're no longer begging like a pauper at heaven's gate. You will issue decrees like a king. I accept abundance right now. And reality will have no choice but to obey. Jerusalem, 960 BC. In the magnificent but stifling throne room, a raw drama of human nature is unfolding. Two women, both harlots, outcasts of society, are screaming and clawing at each other before the wisest king in history. Between them is a crying newborn baby and the cold corpse of another child. The story is hauntingly tragic. Both gave birth 3 days apart, but one accidentally crushed her child while sleeping soundly. In the darkness of despair and envy, she swapped the dead child for the living one from her sleeping friend's arms. Now, in the light of day, both swear before God that they are the real mother. No witnesses, no DNA tests, nothing but overlapping lies and tears that might be fake. The courtiers whisper, "How can a man look into the heart of a stranger?" Solomon sits there, observing with visible boredom, as if he were watching a children's game. He doesn't engage in philosophical debate. He simply issues an order that makes people's blood run cold. "Bring me a sword." The sound of metal tears through the quiet space. Solomon coldly pronounces, "Divide the living child in two. Give half to this one and half to that one." It was a moment of madness, a monstrous command. But in that very moment of horror, the mask was torn away. The impostor, with eyes cold enough to shudder, said, "Neither for me nor for you. Let it be divided." But the real mother, with her heart torn apart, collapsed and screamed, "Please give the child to her. Please do not kill him." Solomon smiled. He had seen what he needed to see. He didn't use the sword to kill. He used it for psychological surgery. Welcome to Chapter 4, The Judgment of the Sword. Today, Zorro will help you sharpen your mind to see through every lie in this life. In Hebrew, there is a word for discernment called bina. It is not academic intelligence, IQ. There are professors with an IQ of 150 who are still scammed out of everything by impersonation phone calls. Bina is instinctive intelligence, the ability to see the intent behind the action. You must stop being naive today. Humans lie as easily as they breathe. Words are the cheapest things in the world. Anyone can say, "I love you," "I'm an honest person," or "this project will definitely succeed." Naive people hear those words and believe them immediately, because they project their own goodness onto the other party. That naivety, in the world of power and business, is a death sentence. Solomon didn't listen to words. He listened to vibration. He knew that the truth is always revealed under the pressure of loss. Discernment is the art of asking uncomfortable questions, setting sharp boundaries, and observing how the prey reacts when backed into a corner. Look closely at the fake woman. Why did she agree to split the child? Neither for me nor for you. This is the perfect definition of envy. Envy is not wanting what you have. Envy is wanting you to not have it. The imposter knew the child wasn't hers, but her pain of loss was so great that she would rather choose total destruction than see her rival be happy. In real life, these fake mothers are everywhere. They sit in the same office as you. They are even on your friends list. They are the ones who will say, "I'm advising you sincerely, that project is very risky." But in reality, they are just afraid you'll succeed. They are energy vampires ready to sink the ship while they are on it, as long as you don't get to be the captain. The SolomonCode requires you to draw your sword and banish these people from your kingdom. Don't try to heal them. They are agents of chaos. Cut them off. How do you apply Solomon's judgment in the 21st century? Use the threat of loss as a reagent. In business, do you have a partner swearing loyalty? Draw the sword. Tell them, the situation is very bad. I need you to take a 50% pay cut for 3 months to save the company. Observe. The real mother will say, we'll get through this together. The imposter will jump. That wasn't the deal, I'm out of here. The truth lies in the wallet, not in the words. In love. Are you dating a perfect soulmate? Set an ironclad limit. Say no to one of their requests. The manipulator will react with anger, guilt, or emotional blackmail. If you loved me, you wouldn't do that. The sincere person will respect that boundary. Never fear testing loyalty. True gold does not fear fire. Only fake gold fears the furnace. A king only builds an empire with materials that have proven their durability under 1,000 tons of pressure. To use the sword, Solomon had to be extremely cold. If his voice had trembled, if he had hesitated, the test would have failed completely. He had to look as if he were truly ready to kill the child. In life, the person willing to walk away from the negotiation table is the person with the highest power. If you need a deal too much, if you are too afraid of losing a lover, you are the weak side. You will be manipulated. The SolomonCode says, do not be attached to the result. You must love your project, but be ready to sacrifice it rather than let it be corrupted. You must love your partner, but be ready to be alone rather than lose your dignity. Paradoxically, it is that very willingness to let go that brings you life and absolute power. When the universe sees you are not afraid of loss, it stops taking things away from you. The confidence of the one holding the sword will make predators retreat in fear. We've talked about using the sword to cut off toxic people outside, but brace yourselves, because now I will lead you to the scariest place in the kingdom, the Chamber of Mirrors. You see, the most cunning liar, the most talented fraud you will ever meet in your life, is not a multi-level marketing salesman or a treacherous ex. That person is staring at you in the mirror every morning. Yes, it is you. Solomon, in his final years, wrote the book of Ecclesiastes. That was when he applied the sword of truth to his own great ego. He admitted that all his palaces, gold, and thousands of beautiful women were ultimately vanity, a chasing after the wind. He ruthlessly dissected his own illusions. To fully activate the SolomonCode, you must learn how to use the sword to cut through your own excuses. Why are you still stuck in one place? Don't blame the economy. Don't blame fate. Draw the sword and face the truth. Because I am lazy, because I fear failure more than I desire success, or because I am spending more than the value I create. The truth will set you free, but first, it will make you mad with pain. But better to bleed to heal than to carry a tumor of lies and die slowly in comfort. Many people mistake discernment for becoming a difficult person, always nitpicking and judging others. No, that is the trap of the ego. Judgment is when you say, "He is an evil man." It is full of negative emotion and makes you feel superior. Discernment is when you observe and conclude, "He is a scorpion. His nature is to sting. I don't hate the scorpion for being a scorpion, but I will never let it crawl into my bed." Discernment is neutral. It saves you tons of emotional energy. You stop hoping wolves will eat grass, and you stop being angry when wolves attack sheep. You simply categorize the world and act accordingly. Wolves are not invited to dinner with sheep. That isn't evil, that is responsibility. When you remove the emotional burden from your observations, you will see the world with the clarity of a king standing on a high rampart, quietly observing every move of the enemy. Solomon believed in something modern science calls microsignals. Your body always knows the truth before your brain can process it. Have you ever met someone and felt a cold shiver down your spine, or a strange contraction in your stomach even though they were smiling broadly? That is your ancient radar system screaming a warning, but then your damn rational mind intervenes. Don't be so silly, he has a good degree, he's elegantly dressed. 6 months later, they've scammed you out of all your capital. The SolomonCode says, the body doesn't know how to lie. Learn to listen to your gut. If something smells bad, it is definitely rotten. Don't try to convince yourself it's rare blue cheese. Sharpen your intuition by keeping silent more often. When you are silent, you will hear the whisper of the birds, the subtle premonition signaling danger or opportunity. If the sword is an offensive weapon, then prudence is your golden shield. Solomon repeated it dozens of times in the book of Proverbs. The simpleton believes every word, but the prudent man considers his steps. We live in an era of rush. Buy now or miss out. Opportunity of a lifetime. Remember my words. Haste is the enemy of truth. Scammers always pressure you to decide immediately because they fear your sword will wake up in time. Solomon's strategy was simple. The king never runs. If someone pressures you to sign or give money immediately, the default answer is no. Time is the strongest acid. It will dissolve every flashy layer of a lie. What is real will stand firm after a good night's sleep. What is a trap will reveal its flaws when the emotional euphoria passes. Never be afraid of being seen as slow. Better to be a slow king than a fast actor who ends up empty-handed. A mistake of young rulers is believing they know everything. Solomon, despite being the wisest, still surrounded himself with a council of advisors. But he didn't look for flatterers. He looked for people whose swords were sharper than his own. In business or life, hire yourself a devil's advocate. That is a person whose sole task is to attack, criticize, and find the holes in your plan. If your idea survives those ruthless attacks, then it is qualified to go out onto the real battlefield. Let your ego die in the meeting room so you don't have to die in real life. To close this journey, I want you to take these 4 steps to sharpen your sword. The power pause. From now on, no matter what anyone proposes, answer, I need 24 hours to consider it. See how power returns to your hands when you are no longer led by emotion. Uncomfortable questions. Practice asking the questions others avoid. If this project fails, whose fault will it be first? Why did you choose me over someone better? Look them straight in the eye when they answer. The list of fake mothers. List your 5 closest people. Ask yourself, if I lost everything tomorrow, who would stay? And if I succeeded 10 times over tomorrow, who would truly smile? The answer will tell you who to keep in your palace. Kill hope. Do not use hope as a business strategy. Use data. Don't hope they will change. Look at what they have done in the past. The sword only cuts based on reality, not based on future illusions. Look at this number, 666. For centuries, it has been the dread of the devout, the mark of the beast, the omen of doom. But let me, Zorro, tell you another truth, a truth hidden behind the dust of the Jerusalem temple. In the first book of Kings, there is a record that makes theologians scratch their heads. The weight of gold that Solomon received in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. A coincidence? A king chosen by God receiving the number of the beast? Don't be quick to conclude. In the world of alchemists and those who truly hold human destiny, 666 is not a curse. It is the number of carbon, the foundation of all organic life. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. It represents matter at its purest level. Solomon was not a saint who only looked up at the sky in prayer and rejected the world. On the contrary, he was the supreme master of matter. He understood that to touch the spiritual, you must master this crude physical world first. Most of us were taught that money is the root of all evil. That is the sweetest lie that rulers have injected into your head so you would accept poverty as noble. But Solomon, he didn't chase money. He performed an economic alchemy. He turned Israel, a parched land with no valuable resources, into the financial center of the entire ancient world. About 23 tons of gold flowed into his pockets every year. And I assure you, that gold didn't just fall from the sky like a cheap miracle in a Hollywood movie. It was the result of understanding energy. Have you ever wondered why money is called currency? In Latin, currens means flow. Money, in its essence, is exactly like water or electricity. If it flows, it creates life, it lights up cities, it operates an entire empire. But if you hold it tight, if you hoard it in fear, it becomes a stinking swamp. That is greed, a stagnant and deadly energy. I see you every day still trying to catch money with clenched hands. You are afraid of losing it, you squeeze your fists tight. But look, when you clench your hands, no new water can flow in anymore. You have disconnected yourself from the flow of the universe. Solomon was different. He was a giant water pipe. Gold flowed in, and gold had to flow out. He built temples so magnificent they took people's breath away. He paid for elite armies. He invested in ocean-crossing merchant fleets. He kept the pressure of the system at the highest level. His wealth did not lie in the numbers in his treasury, but in the volume of gold he could channel through himself without being crushed by it. So, ask yourself, what size is your pipe? Is it a tiny straw because you always tremble before the fear of scarcity? Or is it a subway tunnel ready to receive floods of prosperity? We live in an era where humans worship poverty as a kind of virtue. The poor are honest, the rich are dirty, a mental virus that has ruined your relationship with wealth. If deep down you consider money as a demon, your subconscious will do everything to push it away. Every time you are about to touch a fortune, that warped moral compass will make you do something stupid to go back to the starting line, poor but good. Solomon smashed that cheap myth. God's temple was not built with mere prayers. It was plated with tons of pure gold. Poverty helps no one. It doesn't help you feed your family, it doesn't build hospitals, and it doesn't give you time to meditate. Poverty, to be blunt, is a modern form of slavery. Money is just an amplifier. If you are a bad person, money will turn you into an influential bad person. If you are a generous person, money will turn you into a great philanthropist. It only reveals who you truly are. Are you still here? Good, because we are about to enter the practice part of alchemy. Forget the lectures on saving pennies. Solomon didn't become rich by cutting back on morning coffee costs. He was rich because he ran an empire like a game of Go that surrounded the world. I want you to imagine the seaport of Ezion-Geber, the sound of waves against the hulls, the smell of sea salt mixed with the scent of pitch and sweat. Solomon didn't sit still in the palace, waiting for gold to breed itself. He had something called the ships of Tarshish. The Bible records, once every 3 years the fleet returned bringing gold, silver, ivory, monkeys, and peacocks. Why 3 years? While we modern humans have brains devastated by TikTok, where 15 seconds is already too long, Solomon played a long game. He understood cyclical patience. Those ships had to cross seas unnamed on maps, face sea monsters and storms that could sink a fortune in the blink of an eye. But Solomon accepted that risk. He taught us the first lesson of diversification. Never put all your eggs in one basket and never have only one ship. If Solomon had only one ship and it sank, the kingdom would be bankrupt. But he had a fleet. He had multiple sources of income, from taxes, from tributes, from spice trade, and from far-off expeditions. Most of you are living an extremely dangerous life that you think is safe. You have only one source of income from a salary. If that ship sinks, the boss fires you, the company goes bankrupt, you starve. Solomon would laugh at your safety. To activate this code, you must launch your own ships. A side job, an investment, a sellable skill. Let them go to sea. They won't bring back gold tomorrow, maybe in 3 years. But when they return, they will bring ivory and rare peacocks, things that a lifelong wage earner wouldn't even dare to dream of. But gold doesn't just come from the sea. It comes from something more invisible: order. There is a secret that modern Wall Street investors still use, but Solomon caught on to it thousands of years ago. Money flees from chaos and seeks stability. Why did neighboring kings voluntarily pay high tributes to Solomon? Because they were afraid? Perhaps in part. But the bigger reason was they were paying to buy peace. Under Solomon's protective umbrella, trade routes became safe. No looting, no petty wars. Solomon sold the world's most luxurious commodity: stability. Look at your life. If your life is a mess of emotional tragedies, overdue bills, and a cluttered room, then money will look at you like a war zone. And no one wants to invest in a war zone. Other people's money will seek refuge with those who are steady, predictable, and reliable. Become the bedrock in the storm, and the world will throw money at you just to stand next to that peace. And here is a paradox that will drive misers crazy: the law of the void. Have you ever heard of the Dead Sea and the Sea of Galilee? Both receive water from the same Jordan River. But the Sea of Galilee is full of fish and life, while the Dead Sea, true to its name, has nothing but bitter salt. The only difference is, the Sea of Galilee receives water and lets it out. It flows, but the Dead Sea keeps everything for itself. It has no outlet. The miser is a Dead Sea. He accumulates, he counts every penny, he is afraid to let go, and then his wealth becomes toxic. It turns into anxiety, disease, and dirty inheritance disputes. Solomon practiced strategic generosity. He said, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for after many days you will find it again." Giving is not loss. Giving is an ultimate flex on the universe. When you give without calculation, you are emitting a powerful frequency signal. I have so much that I am not afraid of lack. That is how you break the scarcity mindset. When you open the outlet in the south, you create the void for new water to flood in from the north. Don't block the exit if you don't want to block the entrance of wealth. But be careful of the trap of greed. Have you heard of King Midas? The one who prayed for everything he touched to turn to gold and ended up starving because even the bread turned into cold metal. Money is an excellent servant, but a terrible and dictatorial master. Solomon maintained that balance for most of his life. He used gold to beautify the temple, to reflect sunlight, to create beauty. To him, gold was condensed light. It was a tool to buy back the most precious things, time and freedom. If you have money, you don't have to sell your time to survive. You can buy other people's time to serve your higher purpose. That is the true meaning of mastering matter. Don't save money for a rainy day. If you do, you are commanding the universe to send a storm so you can use that money. Save to invest, to expand your kingdom. And finally, stop playing the victim. Slaves always blame the government, taxes, the boss, the economy. The king is different. The king looks at his kingdom and says, "Everything here is my responsibility." If you lack money, it is your fault. If you are prosperous, it is your achievement. Outside help is just crumbs to keep you quiet and obedient. Go out and hunt. This world is full of money. Trillions of dollars are floating over your head in the form of electromagnetic waves. Your job is to set up an antenna, a product, a service, a value to catch that flow. Imagine a morning in Jerusalem. The ground suddenly trembles under the hooves of thousands of camels. The air, already thick with the scent of frankincense, is now invaded by strange, even more luxurious aromas. Spices from Arabia, incense from Yemen, perfumes from Ethiopia. An endless caravan passes through the city gates, and at the center, surrounded by giant Nubian guards, is the most powerful woman of the south, the Queen of Sheba. She had crossed more than 2,500 kilometers of burning deserts, deadly dunes, and bloodthirsty bandits. A journey lasting months just to meet one man. Why? Did Solomon invade her kingdom? No. Did Solomon send letters of pleading, flirtation, or debase himself to invite her? Absolutely not. She came for one reason only. She could not resist. This is the most secret chapter in the SolomonCode, the principle of magnetism. I see you every day living like exhausted hunters. You chase money, you chase love, you chase customers, you chase recognition. You run, you sweat, you lower your value, you beg for an opportunity. And the result? The object of your pursuit always flees, because that is the law of nature. The nature of a queen is to flee the pursuer and surrender to the one who fascinates her. Solomon chased no one. He was the sun, the center, the pole emitting energy. Sheba was the earth, the visitor, the receiving magnetism. Solomon simply stood still, focused on his temple, focused on his wisdom, and he created a gravitational field so strong that the whole world was pulled into his orbit. In the physics of attraction, there is a fatal mistake that 99% of you are making: needingness. When you feel empty, lacking, and go out into the world to find someone to fill you, you unintentionally turn yourself into an energy black hole. And let me tell you, this world smells your desperation faster than a shark smells blood. In an interview, if the boss sees you are starving for work, they will squeeze your salary down to a pathetic level. On a date, if a girl sees you need attention too much, she will lose interest immediately. In business, if customers see you are desperate to close the deal, they will not trust you. Needingness is the #1 repellent of wealth. To activate the Sheba code, you must destroy your need. You must be so busy building your own temple, so passionate about your project, that the appearance of a queen or a fortune is just a pleasant bonus, not a lifebuoy. When you do not need the world will crave you. But how did the queen know Solomon was there to be found? It was thanks to reputation. The Bible says, "When the Queen of Sheba heard of Solomon's fame, she came." Your reputation always enters the room before you do. Solomon curated his personal brand to an extreme. He ensured that every merchant leaving Jerusalem had to tell stories that made listeners' jaws drop. People don't buy products, they buy legends. Mediocrity is invisible, but excellence is an echo that pierces the desert. What are you doing with your reputation? Are you a mediocre worker, or are you irreplaceable? If you want to attract queens, major investors, high-level partners, you must do things worthy of people talking about you when you are absent. And here is a pinnacle technique of Solomon: mystery. Sheba came not because she knew everything about Solomon, but because she wanted to know more. She came with hard questions, with riddles. Solomon was not a cheap open book. He lived behind walls, guards, and rituals. Inaccessibility creates value. What is scarce is expensive. What is abundant is cheap. You are being too abundant. You reply to messages in 3 seconds. You spill your guts on the first date. You reveal all business secrets before the customer even asks. Shut your mouth. Wear a veil. Let the world wonder, who is he really? How does he do that? That curiosity is the magnetic hook that pulls them toward you. Finally, when Sheba arrived, Solomon gave her a visual knockout. The way the servants sat, the attire of the ministers, the food on the table, the architecture of the house. Everything was so perfect, she lost her breath. Solomon understood the power of the theatrical effect. You are the art director of your own life. If I step into your kingdom, your office, your home, or even your social media profile, will I see a filthy chaos or a harmonious, sophisticated reality? Beauty is an irresistible force of seduction. It proves that you are the master of your surroundings, and that is the ultimate evidence of an autonomous mind. Solomon seduced the queen through her eyes before subduing her with his intellect. And when the encounter between the maximum masculine, Solomon, purpose, structure, and the maximum feminine, Sheba, receptivity, magnetism, occurs, a massive source of energy is released. That is when gold and wisdom are exchanged most voluntarily and generously. Do you want to be a tired hunter or a king waiting on his throne for the world to bring offerings? The difference lies in whether you are emitting the frequency of lack or fulfillment. Look at the end of this historic meeting. After exchanging wisdom, gold, and perhaps the deepest vibrations, the Queen of Sheba decided to return to her land. And this is when Solomon showed the true class of an alchemist. He let her go. He did not lock her in an ivory tower, did not kneel to beg her to stay, nor did he use power to force a permanent commitment. Solomon understood that he was the temple. Guests come and go, but the temple stands firm. His value did not depend on who stayed or who left. It lay in who he was as the silhouette of the queen's caravan faded into the horizon. He who tries to possess will destroy magnetism. If you squeeze a butterfly in your palm for fear it will fly away, you will only receive a crushed butterfly corpse. But if you open your palm, that butterfly might return, or a whole other swarm of butterflies will find you. This emotional independence is the final key to high-status power. But wake up, my friend. When you start to shine like a sun, you will not only attract queens of Sheba, you will attract flies, parasites, and flatterers. This world is full of energy vampires, those who seek you out not to exchange value, but to drain your light. Solomon accepted Sheba because she was an equal. She had her own kingdom. Be wary of those who need you too much. Use the sharp sword of discernment to filter your orbit. Do not let anyone enter your kingdom just because they bring a few cheap gifts. Some gifts are actually Trojan horses full of the seeds of betrayal. Now, we will enter the most important part. The process of activating financial alchemy. I will not give you cliché advice. These are rituals to change your vibrational frequency today. 1. The wallet ritual and the letter of reconciliation. Take out your wallet right now. What does it look like? Worn out, full of crumpled receipts or expired loyalty cards? That is a manifestation of contempt for the energy of money. Buy a good wallet. Arrange the bills neatly, facing the same direction. Tell your subconscious, this is the residence of a king. Then write a letter to money. Be honest with it. Admit that you were once afraid of it, once called it dirty, or blamed it for your misfortunes. Apologize and declare reconciliation. Burn that letter so the ashes carry away the contract of poverty you signed with fear for all those years. 2. Personal deduction and value increase. Before paying rent, electricity, or Netflix, pay yourself first. Deduct at least 10% from every source of income and absolutely never touch it. This is your money-attracting magnet. And tomorrow, do something bold. If you are selling a service, increase the price by 10%. If you are an employee, make a plan to ask for a raise based on the new values you will contribute. The world prices you exactly the way you price yourself. If you sell yourself cheap, do not blame the world for buying you at a bargain price. 3. Proactive fasting and intentional mystery. For the next 7 days, perform a fast from attention. Stop messaging people who are not important first. Stop seeking useless fun. Spend all that energy sharpening your skills. When someone asks how you are doing, do not vomit out all your problems. Just smile and say, "Great things are in motion. You will see soon." Create a mysterious gap. Let the world wonder about your change. That is when magnetism begins to work. You see, Solomon's alchemy was not about literally turning lead into gold as a magic trick. It was the transformation from a mind of scarcity and fear into a mind of mastery and abundance. Money is not scarce. What is scarce are people with enough courage to become a large conduit. Gold is condensed light, and it only finds places with enough order and wisdom to contain it. Look at that old man, Jerusalem, the final years of a brilliant dynasty. The man sitting there, hand trembling as he holds a pen, is not a defeated man. That is Solomon, the richest, wisest, and also the most tired king in history. He no longer writes of glorious feats or hot lovers in the Song of Songs. Instead, he leaves a testament about time that we often hear at funerals with somber faces. To everything, there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. What do you hear? A poem about resignation? A lament that life is what it is, so just let it be? Mistake. A colossal mistake. I tell you, Solomon was not writing poetry. He was leaving a cosmic military strategy. He was cracking a code that we modern humans, in the madness of the digital age, have completely lost. We worship a lie called the straight line. You believe you must always grow, always produce, always be at the peak 24/7. If the graph doesn't go up, you panic. You feel like a failure if you aren't a millionaire at age 25. But look out that window. Does nature ever operate like that? If you try to harvest wheat in the middle of a frozen winter, you don't just end up empty-handed. You die of cold and break your precious plow. Most of the times you fell off your horse in life, it wasn't because you were incompetent. It was because you used the wrong clock. You were trying to kick open a locked door while sleeping through the exact moment the universe threw it wide open for you. To understand Solomon, we must distinguish between the two types of time that the ancient Greeks clearly separated, Chronos and Kairos. Chronos is what you wear on your wrist. It is quantitative, seconds, minutes, hours. It is the time of the slave. It is ruthless, linear, and devours your life bit by bit. It pressures you. Clock in at 9 a.m., leave at 5 p.m. Hurry up. You are getting old. You are falling behind. Chronos creates fear. It makes you force immature relationships, launch flawed products because of deadlines, and invest in collapsing markets just because you can't sit still. Your ego screams, "I control time." Solomon stands there, smiling bitterly and saying, "You don't control time, you surf on it." Kairos is where the magic happens. It is qualitative. It is the right moment. It is not measured in minutes. It is measured by impact. The wise king does not obsessively watch the hourglass. He looks at the signs. Is it time for war? If the answer is yes, he attacks with extreme ferocity. Is it time for peace? If yes, he lowers the sword and builds. Imagine you are a diver. Chronos tells you, "You've been diving for 10 minutes, go up." But Kairos says, "Look, son, the precious pearl is right in front of you, just one more reach away." If you live in Chronos, you miss the pearl. If you live in Kairos, you know when to hold your breath and when to burst with effort. Solomon understood that your life, career, and even your wallet must go through 4 inevitable seasons. You cannot hack or skip them without paying the price of destruction. 1. Winter, death, and rooting. This is the worst stage for your ego. No sales, no partner, a sense of stalemate and loneliness looms. Fatal mistake, panicking. Trying to desperately do everything just to look like you are still alive. The king's strategy, rest and go underground. In winter, life does not stop. It is only accumulating. This is the time for you to read, learn, plan, and sharpen your axe. If you are in winter, do not launch anything. Winter is the womb of spring. 2. Spring, fragility and sowing. The buds begin to sprout. A new idea. A first date. Fatal mistake. Boasting about it everywhere or wanting to harvest immediately. You cannot force a sprout that has just emerged to give fruit right away. The king's strategy. Protect and work in silence. This is the time to sow seeds en masse, but with extreme care. Do not expect results immediately. Water it with faith and patience. 3. Summer. Aggressive growth. The weather is clear. Everything grows like wildfire. Energy is overflowing. Fatal mistake. Relaxing and enjoying too early. The king's strategy, maximum intensity. This is the time to scale, to market frantically, to expand territory. The wise farmer works from sunrise to sunset in the summer. Do not fall asleep while at the peak. 4. Autumn. Harvest and pruning. The fruit is ripe, money flows in, recognition arrives. Fatal mistake, believing it will last forever and spending everything. The king's strategy, collect, store, and most importantly, prune. Cut off relationships that no longer have value, projects that are outdated. Prepare to die a little to welcome the next winter. Look at this luxury. In Solomon's royal garden, peacocks spread their brilliant tails, marble fountains spray white foam, and the world's most expensive incense wafts through every corner. In the granaries are tons of pure gold. In the harem are 1,000 women, 700 wives, and 300 concubines. Solomon had everything, absolutely everything that a man on this earth ever craved. He had tasted, possessed, and consumed the world. Yet, look at his hand. He is holding a papyrus and writing the most brutal, bitter sentence in all of human literature. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Havel havelum. What happened? Why would someone who held the ultimate code of the universe, the wisest and richest, end his life in such a deep existential depression? The answer will make you shiver. He forgot the code. He let his own shadow win. The word vanity that we often read in the Bible is actually too mild a translation. The original Hebrew word is hevel. It means vapor, smoke, mist, a breath of air on a freezing winter day. Solomon was not saying that life is worthless. He was saying that life is something that cannot be grasped. Do you see smoke? It has a shape, it is there. But when you close your hand, there is nothing. The fatal mistake of Solomon, and perhaps of your own, is trying to find eternity in ephemeral things. You think when you have $1 million, you will be safe forever? That is smoke. The next day you will fear losing it, or you want 2 million. You think when you marry the person of your dreams, you will be happy forever? That is mist. Habit and boredom will set in. Solomon tried to fill the infinite void in his soul with finite things, and he discovered the law of diminishing returns. The first glass of wine is heaven, the 10th makes you dizzy, and the 20th will kill you. More does not mean better. More is just more smoke. Carl Jung once said, "The greater the light, the longer the shadow." Solomon shone so brightly that his shadow was as giant as a monster. What was his shadow? Lust and idolatry. But do not misunderstand. This is not just about sex. It is the lust for possession. He wanted to own all wisdom, all gold, all women. That desire to devour the whole world is the distortion of the king archetype into a greedy tyrant. You also have such a shadow. And be careful. The more successful you are, the stronger that shadow becomes. How many millionaire CEOs have you seen destroy their careers over a stupid sex scandal? How many great athletes collapse because of stimulants? They are not hypocrites. They are just people with too much light who ignored their own darkness. They thought they were kings, so they stood above psychological laws. Solomon thought so too. He believed he could worship the hundreds of foreign gods of his wives without tainting his connection with the Almighty. He told himself, "I am wise, I can handle it." That is the lie of arrogance. And that was when his heart went astray. Success is a powerful hallucinogenic drug. It makes you believe that you are the power generator, not just a light bulb conducting electricity. You start to forget the teachers, forget the luck, Kairos, and forget the universe. You become your own idol. And here is the greatest irony. You fight for money to have peace, but when you have too much money, you lose all peace. Now you have something to lose. You fear thieves, fear scammers, fear market collapses, fear even fake friends. Gold, which should have been a servant, has now become your jailer. You live to guard the treasure. You are a prisoner in your own castle. Solomon realized, the sleep of a laboring man is sweet, but the abundance of the rich will not allow him to sleep. To cure the disease of vanity, Solomon was forced to look directly at the only truth, death. The wise or the fool in the end, both become ashes. Sound pessimistic? No. This is the most powerful liberating tool. Death is absolute equality. When you accept your finiteness, your ego shrinks back to its correct size. Solomon used death to regain sanity. He stopped doing everything to impress people who were also about to die. He returned to the most basic things, the taste of wine at sunset, the joy in a job well done. There is an old legend that the demon Asmodeus tricked Solomon out of his magic ring and threw him 10,000 miles away. In the blink of an eye, the powerful king became a wandering beggar. He had to eat from charity soup, regarded by the world as a madman when muttering, "I am King Solomon." It was during that exile, when his feet were deep in the mud, that Solomon learned true humility. He understood that power is only a loan, not a property. The universe loves you so much that it will not let you live forever in the lie of the ego. If you are too arrogant, it will take away your ring. It could be a bankruptcy, an illness, or a breakdown. It breaks you to save you. To not end up like a bitter old man in a pile of gold, you need to apply these antidotes today. Define enough. Write down a number for financial freedom. When you reach it, stop the race and start playing for joy. Don't be the richest man in the cemetery. A diet of flattery. Stay away from those who always say yes to you. Find friends who dare to say to your face, "Don't be a fool, Solomon." Memento mori ritual. Set a skull wallpaper or the phrase "this too shall pass" on your phone. Every year, walk alone in a cemetery to remind yourself of finiteness. Let go of what you love. Once a month, give away an item you actually like, not a piece of junk. Train the muscle of letting go. Remember, your legacy does not lie in the amount of gold you hoard, but in the intangible values you leave behind. What you do for yourself dies with you. What you do for others remains forever. In the darkest corners of occult libraries, there is a forbidden book named Lemegeton Clavicula Salomonis, also known as the Lesser Key of Solomon. Legend has it that this king did not just rule men. He also summoned, subdued, and imprisoned 72 high-ranking spirits, powerful demons, into a bronze vessel, sealed with magic seals, and forced them to build the temple for him. A superstitious mind would think of exorcisms or sulfur smoke. But let me, Zorro, peel back this veil for you. Solomon was not a cheap sorcerer. He was the most sophisticated master of human resources and networking of all time. Those 72 spirits were not ghosts. They are metaphors for his network of ambassadors, generals, architects, and business partners. Those with extraordinary talent, but also full of ambition and danger. The true demons of the real world. We are living in a culture that worships individualism to an extreme. You like the image of a genius working alone in a garage and changing the world? Forget it. That is a cheap lie. Steve Jobs did not build the iPhone by himself. He coordinated thousands of brains. Elon Musk does not personally tighten every screw on a SpaceX rocket. Solomon understood that if he carried the stones to build the temple himself, he would have been crushed to death in the first week, and history would have nothing to tell. The SolomonCode says, your net worth equals your network. Power is leverage. If you only use your 24 hours and your single brain, you have an extremely low ceiling. But if you have 72 spirits working for you, you have thousands of hours every day. You become omniscient and present everywhere. Doing everything yourself, that is the mindset of the poor. Delegating to the best, that is the mindset of the king. Why 72? And why does each spirit have a distinct power? Because Solomon understood specialization. In your life, are you trying to have your brother-in-law make the website, your best friend keep the books, and fixing the car yourself? You are using mediocre tools for important tasks. To build an empire, you need to identify which spirit is missing from your vessel. Do you need a legal wizard, a fierce lawyer who can tear apart opponents? Do you need a gold keeper, a tax accountant who can see hidden cash flows? Do you need a warrior, a sales leader who knows no fear? If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. The king does not need to be more specialized than his demons. His job is to have the vision and put each demon in the right place so they don't tear each other apart, but build the temple together. The Bible tells of a classic pact between Solomon and Hiram, the king of Tyre. Solomon had agricultural products and trade routes. Hiram had cedarwood and master craftsmen. They did not compete. They did not invade each other. They formed a resonant alliance. $1 plus 1 equals 3. Solomon outsourced his weaknesses. He didn't have time to learn how to felling trees. The code here is, seek complementarity, do not seek a clone. Do not partner with someone exactly like you. If you are a high-flying creative, find an administrator obsessed with order. If you are shy but technically skilled, find a fast talker to go out and close deals. In magic, Solomon used seals. In reality, what do you use? Trust? Kindness? Don't be so naive. People with great talent often have great egos. They are ambitious demons. You bind them with aligned interests. That is the true magic seal. No one works for you because they love you. They work for their own benefit. Solomon was a master psychologist. He knew what every general, every merchant wanted, and he met them before they even asked. Their loyalty was bought by the fact that, being beside Solomon, they earned more, gained more fame, and were safer compared to betraying him. If one day they see being with you as a burden, the seal will break, and the demon will devour you instantly. Managing exceptional people is like walking a tightrope. If too soft, they will eat you. If too dictatorial, they will rebel. Solomon once let his guard down with Jeroboam, a capable servant, and the price was the kingdom being split in two later. The secret lies in the vessel. The vessel is the system. You need clear rules, processes, and contracts. A company without a system is like releasing 72 demons into the garden and telling them to play by yourselves. They will burn your house down. You need the summon, hiring, the task, goals, and the ability to banish, firing, decisively. To activate the next chapter, do the following. Audit the group of 5. Write down the names of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Average their income and ambition. If you don't like the result, use banishment immediately. You cannot fly like an eagle if you keep walking with ducks. The summoning list. What skill are you lacking to break through? Don't look for cheap employees. Find the best spirits in that field. The Queen of Sheba. Method. Do not approach powerful people to demand things. Bring a gift, a value, a piece of information, a connection. Let them see that an alliance with you is a bargain. Be the host. Instead of waiting to be invited, be the organizer. Connect the talented people in your network. When you are the bridge for others' success, you become the central node of power. Do you understand now? A king is not alone. A king is the one who controls massive sources of energy from those around him. But remember, the seal only works when you yourself maintain mastery of the mind. If you lose yourself, the demons will break the vessel and turn you into their slave. We have learned how to surf the waves of time, how to chain the monster of the ego, and how to control the 72 demons of talent. But if you think that is enough to reign over an empire, you are dead wrong. There is an ultimate weapon that Solomon possessed, an ancient technology that we, the slaves of hustle culture, have foolishly thrown into the trash. It is the art of rest. Listen to this. God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th. Do you think God was tired? He is the Almighty. He does not know fatigue. So why did he stop? To contemplate, to seal the creation, and to allow the work to take shape. Modern man, in his ridiculous arrogance, thinks he can plow 7 days a week, no sleep, no rest, with nothing but coffee and growth charts. That is not productivity. That is biological suicide. If a bow is always drawn tight, it will lose its elasticity. And a bow that has lost its elasticity is just a piece of rotten wood. Rest is not doing nothing. Rest is active recovery. Solomon's most genius ideas did not come while he was shouting in a council room. They came in the absolute stillness of the garden, where the clock did not exist. If you do not decree these empty times for yourself, the universe will force you to rest through illness, depression, or an accident. The choice is yours: voluntary rest like a king, or forced rest on a hospital bed. What is financial debt? Through Zorro's lens, I will tell you the naked truth. It is impatience materialized. You want that luxury car today, but your wallet doesn't allow it? So you borrow money. What are you doing? You are time traveling in the worst way. You are robbing your future self to satisfy your tiny present ego. The borrower is servant to the lender, Solomon warned. When you are in debt, you lose the freedom to seize Kairos, opportunity. You cannot take risks. You cannot jump into a potential project because your future is already mortgaged to pay for the past. Respect the gestation period of wealth. A pregnancy lasts 9 months. If you try to pull the child out at 4 months, you don't have a child faster. You only have a tragedy. Quick wealth is usually fragile wealth. Buy your freedom with patience. Do not sell your soul to the trap of credit cards. When you live in alignment with the code, a strange phenomenon occurs: synchronicity. You just think of someone, and they call you immediately. You are stuck, and suddenly you find the answer on a random page of a book. This is not a coincidence. It is a sign that you are dancing to the rhythm of the universe's music. You are in the flow. The sign that you are on the right track is ease. I am not saying without effort. I am saying without unnecessary friction. The oar enters the water smoothly, and the boat moves forward. If you find yourself fighting the whole world, stop. Look at the clock. Perhaps you are trying to set sail while the tide is going out. Businesses also know how to breathe. Inhale, invest, recruit, improve the product. Exhale, sales, take profit, and sometimes firing. The amateur panics when sales go down. The king does not. He knows it is time to exhale, to review the strategy and prepare for the next inhale. Keep your cool on the roller coaster of your career, because you already know the tracks. To truly activate the SolomonCode in your life, I give you the final 3 iron rules. Digital Sabbath. Choose 24 hours a week, preferably Sunday. No work, no screens, no notifications, only nature, family, and stillness. Reset the system so that on Monday, you become a productive beast. The 24-72 rule. For big decisions, wait 24 hours to go through one sleep cycle. For items you want to buy emotionally, wait 72 hours. If after 3 days you still crave it, buy it. Most of the time, the desire will evaporate like havel. Practice proactive. Waiting. Next time you are stuck in traffic or a line, don't pull out your phone. Stand there, breathe, observe, feel the weight of the moment. That is how you train the mindset of a lion stalking the Kairos of its life. Solomon has entered the shadows of history, but his code remains here, vibrating in every fiber of reality. You can choose to continue living as a slave to the Chronos clock, or step onto your own throne by mastering the rhythms of the universe. Do you smell that? It's not just the scent of expensive frankincense from afar. It's the smell of an empire starting to rot from the inside. The year 930 BC, Jerusalem is submerged in a thick mist of mourning. King Solomon, the wisest man, the richest man, the one who made gold as common as stones on the street, has drawn his last breath. It was the greatest funeral humanity had ever witnessed. Princes and envoys from all corners of the world flocked to bow before the cooling corpse of a legend. But Let me tell you a secret history books often ignore. The greatest empires usually collapse exactly at the moment they look the sturdiest. Before the funeral wreaths could wither, before Solomon could settle into his tomb, the kingdom of Israel began to crack. Why? Because Solomon had made a fatal mistake that every tycoon is prone to. He left a massive fortune to someone who didn't know how to create it. Look at the successor, Rehoboam. He was the perfect definition of an ancient Nepo baby. Raised in silk, breathing air thick with the smell of money, and never having to taste the salt of sweat or the iron of blood on the battlefield. Rehoboam was an heir, not a founder. When the people, who were exhausted by the exorbitant taxes served for Solomon's excessive luxury, came to kneel and beg for a bit of mercy, what do you think our young man did? He didn't listen to the wise elders. Instead, he listened to his silver spoon friends. With stupidity fueled by arrogance, he made a declaration that went down in history as one of the worst PR blunders of all time. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions. Boom! In just one day, Solomon's 40-year legacy went up in smoke. The 10 northern tribes revolted. The kingdom was split in two, and just 5 years later, Shishak, the pharaoh of Egypt, marched into Jerusalem as if taking a stroll. He plundered the glittering golden shields that Solomon had meticulously crafted. All the power, all the glory, all the zeros in the account vanished like a dream after a night of drunkenness. How did a giant fall so fast? How did the man who once wrote that "the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom" end his life kneeling before mindless stone statues? The answer lies in something I call the success virus. Listen, climbing to the top is hard, but keeping yourself there is 10,000 times harder. Why? Because success has a very toxic side effect. It makes you take off your armor. Solomon didn't wake up one morning and say, "Today I'm going to ruin this kingdom." Evil doesn't break in through the front door with trumpets and drums. It sneaks in through what I call the drift. Imagine you are the captain of an ocean liner. If you let the rudder slip by just 1 degree, nothing happens at first. You still see the blue sea, the golden sun, and the wine still tastes good. But after 1,000 miles, instead of docking in paradise, you will smash into an iceberg on a completely wrong continent. Solomon began drifting with very small things, tolerating a foreign wife bringing in a strange altar, adding a small surcharge tax to buy more war horses, telling himself, "I am the king, I control everything." That is the devil's sweetest lie. I am in control. Rot always happens slowly, comfortably, and silently. When you are making a ton of money, you stop inspecting costs with a magnifying glass. When the marriage is peaceful, you stop giving flowers. When your health is good, you skip the gym for 1 day. That relaxation is the cancer. Solomon stopped guarding the door of his soul, and chaos leaked in drop by drop until it flooded the sanctuary. Today, we perform this surgery not to judge a dead king, but to save you. Because if you have applied what we learned from previous chapters, you will succeed. It's mathematics. But at the very moment you touch the crown, you are also the one standing at the edge of the most dangerous abyss. You know, in the world of power, there are red lines that once you cross, there is no turning back. Hundreds of years before Solomon took the throne, in the book of Deuteronomy, God set out 3 iron rules specifically for kings. It was like a manual for using nuclear weapons to ensure the ruler did not burn himself. Solomon, the man who possessed a genius brain, certainly had read it thousands of times, but success has a great way of convincing you that The law is for the masses, but you are the exception. Let us dissect the 3 knife wounds Solomon inflicted on the heart of his own empire. The first rule: the king must not accumulate many horses. Horses in ancient times were not for leisurely riding. They were tanks, ballistic missiles, symbols of brutal military power. Solomon accumulated 12,000 horsemen and 1,400 chariots. You might say, "Hey Zorro, what's wrong with military strength?" The wrong lies in the psychology. When you start putting your security in walls and the number of weapons, you start living in paranoia. You no longer believe in spiritual values or the unity of the people. You only believe in steel. Solomon began to look at the world through the lens of threat. Arrogance leads to fear, and fear leads to rigid rule. When you only believe in your own power, you become aggressive and brutal toward your own subjects to maintain that giant muscle. The second rule: the king must not have many wives, lest his heart go astray. We are talking about 700 royal wives and 300 concubines. A crazy number, right? But make no mistake, this is not a matter of sex or mere physical desire. This is a matter of influence. In the code of power, anyone who sleeps with you has the key to your subconscious. Solomon turned his palace into a marketplace of foreign ideologies. Each woman brought a god, a custom, a set of values completely different from the original code. Bit by bit, the king stopped listening to the warnings of the prophets and started listening to the whispers of concubines on the pillow. If you surround yourself with people who do not share your vision, just for pleasure or political gain, sooner or later you will adopt their vision. Solomon let his core circle be polluted. The result? He built an altar for the god Moloch right next to the temple of God. The betrayal began in the bedroom. The third rule: the king must not accumulate too much silver and gold for himself. Pay attention to those 2 words. For himself. In previous chapters, we learned that true wealth must be circulated. But Solomon, in his later years, stopped being a flow maker and became a hoarder. He crafted giant golden shields just to hang on the wall for decoration. That is useless gold. That is dead gold. When money stops being a tool to serve the kingdom and becomes an idol to be worshipped, it possesses you. Solomon swam in gold while his subjects drowned in high taxes. By blocking the economic flow, he created a spiritual dam. Pressure from the people increased, while the king's empathy decreased. When you strangle the cash flow because of the fear of loss, you are inviting the very poverty and rebellion you dread. What was Solomon's biggest political mistake? It was that he built too fast and too much. To maintain that frantic construction speed, he needed forced labor. Solomon turned his own brothers into construction slaves. He isolated himself in a magnificent ivory tower. He no longer walked the streets, no longer smelled the sweat of the masons, no longer heard the cries of mothers who didn't have enough bread for their children. On Solomon's desk now were only numbers on papyrus. Add 50,000 laborers in Lebanon. Increase tax by 10% in Judah. Solomon had become a pharaoh, the exact type of tyrant his ancestors had shed blood to flee from in Egypt. Success isolates you. In the 21st century, it's private jets, isolated villas, restaurants that common people never step into. You forget how much a liter of milk costs. You forget the reality of the people supporting your throne. The code says, if you lose touch with the ground, you will fall. Solomon could no longer feel the heartbeat of the people. A king who does not understand the world he rules is a king whose end is already destined. His legacy was no longer a great work, but a luxurious tomb waiting for the day of collapse. Have you ever seen a friend of yours give wise advice like a philosopher for someone else's problems, yet their own life is a wreck? Modern psychologists call that Solomon's paradox. Our king could see through the hearts of two women fighting over a child, could decode the hardest riddles of the Queen of Sheba, but he was completely blind to his own inflating ego. Why? Because the ego is not just an enemy, it is a master director specialized in creating blind spots. At the peak of power, Solomon made a mistake that every CEO or politician makes. He eliminated the feedback system. In medieval courts, there was a very important character, the jester. That was the only person allowed to mock the king, to tell him to his face that he was wrong through jokes. Solomon had no jesters left. He surrounded himself with flatterers, professional yes men, people who always praised his snoring as being as melodious as a lyre. When you eliminate criticism, you are flying a jet through fog without instruments. You think you are ascending, but in reality, you are crashing straight into a cliff. If everyone around you applauds when you speak, be careful. You are in a deadly danger zone. You need someone who does not depend on your money to tell you, "Your Majesty, you are acting like a fool." Solomon did not have that person. Let's talk about the true legacy, children. Solomon was a great king, but a terrible father. He was too busy building an empire, writing 3,000 proverbs, and entertaining envoys that he forgot to ferment the soul of his successor. There is an Arabic proverb I love that describes this cycle perfectly. My grandfather rode a camel. My father rode a camel. I drive a Mercedes. My son drives a Land Rover. His son will drive a Mercedes, but his grandson will ride a camel again. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times, but good times create weak men like Rehoboam. Solomon gave his son gold and silver, but he didn't give him the instruction manual, the code that helped him succeed. He stripped his son of hunger. And when you strip a child of hunger, you wither their survival instinct. Rehoboam didn't understand the value of the bricks because he had never had to knead the mud himself. A dynasty is only as strong as its weakest link. Do you remember the legend in the first chapter? Solomon once used a magic ring to force the demon Asmodeus to build the temple. But in his later years, metaphorically, Asmodeus broke his chains. Boredom is the enemy of high performers. When you have conquered the whole world, when money is no longer an issue and power has reached the peak, your brain will start looking for a new type of stimulus, a kind of black dopamine. Solomon started playing with fire. He tried worshiping dark gods like Moloch or Chemosh. Why? Not because he believed in them, but perhaps out of a crazy intellectual curiosity, or simply to find a strange sensation in a life that was already too full. He lowered his guard. He thought he was wise enough to play with the devil without being stained. But listen, you never kill the ego or bad habits. You can only keep them at a safe distance through discipline. The moment Solomon took off his armor of vigilance, the demons he once controlled returned to tear his kingdom apart. The bad habits he thought he had mastered, lust, arrogance, greed, became his new masters. The wisest king in the world ended his final days in spiritual chaos, watching his legacy rust from the inside. That is not a tragedy of the past. It is a warning for any of us on a winning streak. Do not let success turn you into a blind man on your own throne. Solomon is dead. The stone temples were later crushed by the Babylonians. His gold was divided by the Romans and Egyptians. His kingdom broke into bitter shards of memory. If viewed through a material lens, Solomon was a miserable failure in extra time. But wait. Before you close this case file, there is one last thing this king left behind, a gift written with tears of regret. the book of Ecclesiastes. Imagine the world's top billionaires today, like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, at the end of their lives. Instead of writing self-praising memoirs, they wrote a book saying, "All my money is trash. My rockets are vanity. The only thing that matters is love and living for the present." That is exactly what Solomon did. He had the courage to confess the emptiness at the peak. He shows us the map of the abysses so that we don't have to fall into them anymore. His failure is a lesson of blood and bone for us. You will succeed. I believe that because you possess the code. But to not become a second Solomon, you need a maintenance protocol consisting of 4 iron laws. The day 1 law: never stop being a student. Jeff Bezos has a rule. It's always day 1. Day 2 is stagnation, followed by death. Solomon collapsed because he thought he knew everything. Keep the white belt mindset even when you have $1 million. The law of pruning. Success brings complexity. The more money you have, the more trouble you have. The more hangers-on, the more meaningless commitments. Complexity will strangle you. Every 6 months, pick up the scissors, fire the toxic people, cancel redundant projects, travel light to fly far. The law of the successor. Don't just give your children the fish, or even the fishing rod. Teach them why we must fish. Convey the values, the scars of sweat, not just the numbers in a bank account. The law of returning to roots. Solomon collapsed because he unplugged from his spiritual power source. Whether you call it God, the universe, or justice, keep that anchor firm. As your ship of success grows larger, your spiritual anchor must grow heavier to keep you from being swept away by the storm of the ego. We have reached the end of the scroll. The weak slave, the one who whines and waits for salvation in your mind. I hope he is dead and buried under the temple foundations in the previous chapters. Now look in the mirror. What you see is not a tired entity. What you see is an empty throne. The modern world is full of empty thrones because people have given up their right to mastery to become slaves to TikTok, to fears, and to bosses they hate. The new king of the 21st century is you. Being a king doesn't mean wearing a metal crown. It is a state of consciousness. The new king is the one who masters his own demons of desire, lives in order, whose word is a decree, who possesses the sword of truth, and is an alchemist who attracts gold through value instead of begging. Do not wait for the world to crown you. This world is cruel and chaotic. It will never kneel before the one who stands waiting. It only obeys the person who dares to place the crown on their own head and takes 100% responsibility for their life. Absolute freedom will make you dizzy. Being a slave is more comfortable because you can blame others. But as a king, you must take responsibility for both the rain and the droughts in your kingdom. That weight is what creates the dignity of a human being. Solomon left the map, but he cannot walk for you. Your temple doesn't need to be built with stone in Jerusalem. It is your company, your family, your work of art, and your own sharpened soul. The world is breaking and dark. People are wandering like lost sheep. They are looking for someone with order, with light. They are looking for you. Do not let us down. Do not let yourself down. You have the code. You have the blood of builders. King Solomon has passed away, but his code is immortal. Long live the new king. Arise, put on the ring, and start ruling your own kingdom today.